recap, Family Reunion 2021. The excitement as the family of the Alliance came together. First agency manager dinner, what happens? A whole new, improved promotion schedule. Megan Wood gets up here and gets a new all-expense-paid trip because she's issue paid over $500 million in less than half of a year. And then she talks about how she did it. Then what do? We roll in the CEO of Integrity Marketing, Brian Adams. What's next? Unbelievable. Brian Tracy shows up. So people are bouncing off the walls. We think it can't get better. But Vanilla Ice, Rob Van Winkle, shows up. So he agrees to an interview. He comes back out with his whole music entourage. People knew the songs, they were breakdancing, and this is the first night. This is the first night, and people are losing it. What happens the next day? How do you top it? I got an idea. Let's give away $100,000 on stage to the people that brought the most organizations to the meeting. If you missed it and you want to be at the next one, I highly recommend you sign up quickly. We're going to invest heavy. We're going to go big. Family Reunion was incredible. Family, the friends, the association, the food, the education, and the entertainment. What kind of a package is that? National convention. Off the charts, baby. I will guarantee you. Come see it. See you then. World, watch. You're gonna see something you ain't never seen before. Is about ready to see what the Alliance can do, baby. Alaska, baby. The last great frontier. Maybe, I don't know, Alaska. It's cold up there, so I got my jacket on, and they got ice glaciers. We're going to cruise Alaska. It's not just a cruise, it's a journey. The ovation of the seas. We are going cruising. And where are we going while we're cruising in Alaska? Juneau. Yes, I know, it's Juneau. It is the largest capital in the United States of America. You're gonna see orcas, you're gonna see humpback whales, you're gonna see them sea dogs, you're gonna see the sea sails, you're gonna see everything up in Juneau, because Juneau. Have you ever been dog sledding? You get on the back of the sled. Or you down like this right here. You like this right here. There's a country song that says, if I never get to see the Northern Lights, I bet you're going to
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to the Activity Call Live. Filmed today in beautiful Louisville, Kentucky. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Mike and Noelle Leventovich.
Woohoo! Hey, hello everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Activity Call Live. We are broadcasting live from Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, whatever, doesn't matter. Mike should be hopping on here shortly, but for now, I have the honor of hosting this call, and I do not take it lightly at all. I start freaking out. I'm like, Andy invited us to be on the call. I don't want to screw anything up, and I drive Mike crazy. I'm like, I need you on with me. Hold my hand. But if I do say something that does offend you, it does not come from the Alliance, and it does not come from Andy Albright, and it's not meant to come at all. So I take this as my apology straight up front. Okay, so welcome everybody. And I do see that Mike has joined me. Mike, would you like to say anything before we get this thing kicked off?
Sure. I'm driving live from my mobile broadcasting studio. And so we're having fun. That's right. And so we're going to keep it safe. I've got an exit coming up, so we'll be pulling off. Trying to time this since our theme is travel. Yet we are in the midst of it, coming back from a meeting in Erie where it was crazy. People were swinging from the chandeliers. We was having so much fun. But we'll be talking more about traveling and building. But excited to be here.
I love that. We need to post some of those pictures on the Facebook page. Swinging from the chandeliers, but people are excited, and we have a lot of excited guests on our call today. So I want to get that started. So what I'll do is let's go through the activity numbers for the week and the leaderboards. I mean, that's an exciting part of what we're doing, and so much growth happening. We were just doing a call yesterday with our team, and we had so many people on our paycheck report. We do a paycheck for a weekly report. We had so many people over $4,600. Our top 10, all of them were over $4,600 deposits in their bank account for the week this past week. So we're fired up, and that means that people are out there running business, and people are out there helping families and meeting with people and building their relationships. So let's cover that right now. So total production issue paid this week. The top 12 listed on the board here. We've got, I apologize if I pronounce this name wrong, but Lenoris Washington with Stephen and Holly Davies, $9,600 issue paid this week. Way to go. Lee Reyes, $10,000 issue paid, 14 applications. Kyle and Janina, $10,236 issue paid. Jeremy and Amy Patton, $11,186. Jonathan and Megan Yakey, $11,455. Way to go. Robert Sarge Wilson, $13,969. And then Marty and Deanna Doge, $15,220. Issue paid. Crazy talk. I mean, this is crazy talk. Tyler Bott, $16,668 issue paid. Way to go. Megan Wood, $21,769. 55 applications issue paid. Nice job. Darwin Grant. This is a new name for me, but fired up to see you on the board, Darwin. $25,850 issue paid. Way to go, man. With Marcus and Carla. Way to go. Alan Hooley, kicking butt and taking names, $40,132 issue paid this week. And then Brian Lewis, another new name for me anyway, with Alex Abian's team with $71,486 issue paid. Way to go. Oh my gosh. It's blowing up out there. I tell you what. That's why we're talking about traveling and building depth and growing your business today. So many people need help, and we're out there helping them. So way to go. All right. So the next leaderboard we have is total annuity sales issue paid. Let's do this. Let's start with number 11. We have Jason Molina, $1,500 annuities. Way to go. Terry and Tia Edwards, $40,000 annuity issue paid. Richard Goodman, part of our agency, $45,000 annuity issue paid. Way to go. Neil Mitchell, new agent, $50,000 annuity issue paid. Nathan Epstein, $50,000 annuity issue paid. Marilyn Slaughter, part of Robert's team, $57,000 annuity. Jubba. James, that's James and Bubba mixed together. Jubba. Sorry, Bubba. I apologize. It's James Bubba Skinner. $57,000 annuity there. And then Douglas Becker, $58,000 annuity. Jeremy and Amy Patton, $96,000 annuity. Darwin Grant, there you go. Big annuity. $258,000 annuity issue paid. And then Alan Hooley, $400,000 annuity. Off the charts, man. Way to go. Way to be out there helping those families out. Next, we have for the week. And people love these annuity board or these leaderboards, especially if your name's on it. That's what Andy always says. If your name's on it, you're listening closely, right? If your name's not on it, guess what? Listen closely anyway, because this is just people working, making the phone calls, doing the activity to create the momentum that they need. That's all. So listen closely as well. So let's do the total sales submitted. Number 14, Brandon and Ashley Beal, $10,500 submitted this week. Stephanie Rodriguez, $10,852 submitted this week. Debbie Ben, $10,873. Jeremico, $10,993. Mike Swales with Fitz team, $11,305. Kyle and Janina, there they are again, $11,444 submitted this week. Abel Verastegi, $11,666. Mike and Kate Marisi in Chicagoland, $11,832. Jonathan and Megan Yakey, $12,160. Way to go. Lee Reyes, $12,540. Sue Love, way to go. $13,200. Another new name. Love the new names up on the board. Brittany Flores, $13,404. By the way, we have met a lot more spots. You know, we could keep this board going further down, right? With a lot of people, you know, submitting over 10,000. So there's room for everybody. Mark Hutchinson, $28,962. And then Megan Wood, $30,729 annualized premium submitted this week. 49 applications. There you go. There you go. Way to go. All right. Top recruiters for the week. We have Junior Korea, Jake and Bell Kraus, Olga and Jason Mathis, and Diane Lampy all had one new recruit this week. Cecil, let me get the name here. Cecil Good with Mike and Kate Marisi's team. Two new recruits, Kyle and Janina. George Swales, I believe it is, maybe. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the name right. Brandy Nelson, she's on our call today. Brandon Manley and Alex Abian, all of them had 2 recruits this week. Joseph 2 had 3 this week. Joseph 2 had 3. Whatever. Anyway, Jeremy and Amy Patton had 5 new recruits this week. So way to go, everybody. I think that's what we're gonna stop there on the leaderboards. That's what I have listed, and we're gonna get to our call and be talking to all the winners that we have out here. So I'm gonna let Mike open up, and if you want to kick us off on this topic, since you're on the road today and you've been on the road for the last 8 days, doing some things and traveling. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off this week?
I will. Man, it's cool watching leaderboards. It's fun when you're seeing results, what people are doing, putting the work. And if you're new and it's like, okay, what's this activity called? We talk about leaderboards because the results come because of the activity. What's the activity for us? It's, are you making dials? Are you booking appointments? Are you seeing people? The fundamentals of that drive those results. It's not complicated. I think with some people, it's probably just more of remembering what you want. What's my thought process? Because we all have silly stuff that happens. We all have stuff that makes us not want to do it. And then as we're building an organization, we have this chance to build a massive passive income. We have a chance to make a legacy changing or generational wealth moment in your family's history. And to recognize that it's almost embarrassing to talk about what's required to do something this significant. And if I could just share with you, I mean, it's embarrassingly simple. And sometimes we can be like, well, there's got to be something more complicated. I want to do the higher level thinking task. It's like, no, it's how do I book appointment and see and serve people? And how do I find some people that want to do the same? How do I go out and how do I build this organization of people willing to? And the way we do that is simply by traveling and talking to people in depth, traveling to build relationships, traveling to serve, traveling to learn, and then connecting on the phone, driving depth while we're traveling or while we're on the phone, while we're Zoom meeting, whatever it is. Are we reaching out and identifying these other people to get out there and see? And so it's fundamentally that simple. And I think then the rest of it's a head game to figure out, well, how do I keep doing it? How do I do it when it doesn't feel, I did it for 2 days. Is it working? And yeah, it takes a little bit of faith. I watched Andy do it. I watched Andy build this massive business by doing the same things, traveling and building relationships in depth, traveling and building relationships in depth. I remember the old Lincoln he would drive to do that and use that with, and watched him do that. And we've done a lot of the same, whether it's driving or flying or talking or whatever it is. And, hey, we've had fun. I've been out there. I think I've been in 4 cities over the last 8 days, just driving different places. But, and some of it has been incidental. I've been living my life, working it in. I was up in Chicago, taking my son on a roller coaster trip. And we said, hey, along the way, what can we do? Well, let's stop by and spend some time with Megan Wood. So hung out with Megan, checked out her new office, talking to her, spent some time plotting about how to take over the world, got a tour of her new house, showed me where the new pool is going in, and just having some fun watching her as she's fulfilling some of her dreams that she's had. Then I'm up having fun with my son.
Before you move on, isn't it cool to see, like, we traveled when we didn't have money and we travel when we do have money, right? But back when we didn't have money, we were traveling like crazy too. And so was Andy. Right. But isn't it cool to go up there and see Megan in a spot where you can see that she is achieving some of the dreams that she has for her son? And you want to talk a little bit more about, yeah, it's fine for us because we're making money, but to see other people that we're working with and coaching achieve some of those dreams, what that means to us, I guess.
Yeah, just is, as simple as it was just to visit and have her give her a tour of her new office, a tour of her house, and just having to take the time to be able to experience it and share that and just celebrate the victory and watch that and know what she's capable of doing. And then also know that part of that office space, while it's also a victory, it's also planting a stake in the ground for where she's going and what she's looking to do next in this investment in moving her business out of her house into an office space, and another investment in her growth and her trajectory toward going partner, toward building another piece of generational wealth for her family. You know, what she's done is already amazing, but knowing that it's just a mere stepping point of where she's at. You know, she's still speaking, earning $1 million this year. She's still speaking it. And, you know, whether she hit 700 or 900 or 1 or 1.1 million, hey, but know the fact that she speaks it with confidence. Just being around her fires me up. And so guess what? Being around her, just to hear her and listen is amazing. And so as you go out there and you've got people that you're working with that are having success, but then also guess what? Taking time to go out and spend time with people that haven't done anything yet. You say, oh, it's easy to go out, and you're right. And that was, I spent time with Megan. But I think as you were building our business, it's learning to go out there on faith and serve people that maybe haven't done anything yet, and to pour into them and spend a meal with them and get to know them and get to know their story and let them know that you believe in them. I think that's huge. You know, we were in Erie last night and had several people there, had a nice dinner and had fun with that. You know, that was really cool. You know, spent time one-on-one with somebody in Chicago while I was there, coming back on Monday morning, had a cup of coffee and just trying to understand, hey, what are they trying to do? What do they need help with? What's holding them back? What are their dreams? What are they focused on? And just taking time. So whether it's one-on-one, whether it's in a group, getting out there. And, you know, I think I was in Clarksville last week. And I think, you know, it was awesome to see the team out there traveling from corporate that was hitting different cities and spending time with them. And then I think we were working depth with, I think I had 4 legs and six different people there and 4 different organizations, and having lunch with some of them, hanging out with some of them during the meeting, just getting to know them, people I think most of them I hadn't met before. So just having fun to put some faces to some names, answer some questions, let people know, yes, we're here. Yes, it's real. Here, you can do this too. And just having that presence and creating more energy for these people that are wondering, hey, and they're taking steps, being there with them and say, yeah, we got your back. So it's been fun. And again, this isn't something that's new or invented. It's something that, hey, we know we need to do. This is how we got big to begin with. And this is how we're going to get bigger, and finding out who wants to go out there and leave the comfort of your house. And I know, hey, guess what? If you've been cooped up and your habits have changed because you've been cooped up and trying to do everything remotely, yeah, is it good to be on the phone with people? Is it good to be on Zoom? Yeah, it's better than doing nothing, but it does not replace the face-to-face piece of what we're doing. And that's just so critical, building the culture, you know? So those are some big things we're seeing. And again, we're not doing anything remarkable. This isn't like our idea. This is what we saw Andy do. This is what it takes to get it done. And so we're encouraging you, if you're looking to do something big and build something massive, these are the simple things that we've been doing along the way, and we're doing more of right now.
I have something you said about, you know, letting people know that we got your back. It's interesting because sometimes we go out and it's 1 or 2 people and we're expecting maybe 10, 20 or a bigger group, but we go out and we have 1 or 2. But I'm always under the thought process, or I try to be in the thought process, that I'm there to serve whoever's put in front of me. So whether it's 1 or 20 or 150, I'm put in that position to try and serve the best I can. And then also say a little prayer that what I'm doing is, is helping somebody. But for people to know that you have their back and that you're going out, because sometimes you're just going out there for the one person, right? But for them to know that you have their back and that you're there for them and that you believe in them and that you love them and that you think that they can succeed, that just solidifies that relationship and that bond, because you're always going to have that. And I know when you were in Chicago, you met with one person, right? We were hoping to meet with more people, but Mike ended up meeting with one person. But I feel like that connection started to solidify even more than it was before. And I think if we keep that thought process in our minds as we go out, not looking at, hey, there was only one person, or I only got to talk to, instead looking at, I got to talk to this person and I got to meet with this person and I feel like we had a connection. If we keep that thought process going, I think we're all going to explode like crazy. And whether that's even traveling or if you're meeting with, somebody on a Zoom. Okay. Sometimes we have to do that, but just knowing that, hey, I got to do this and I got to meet with this person. And that's a big thing. Something else you said, Mike, you said something this significant. That was the first words that came out of your mouth. Something this significant. And if we keep in our mind that what we're doing is significant, what we're doing matters every day. Us, whether we're working with an agent or whether we're working with a client, matters every day. And it is significant. It's something that we're called to do. There's a reason behind it all. If we look at it that way, we feel better about going out and visiting and building these relationships with people. And so I think that's massive. I loved a couple of comments you mentioned. So, all right. So we talked about, so looking at building something. Now, we travel to learn too, right? We traveled so that we can grow. I always used to say this a lot, and probably, I don't know if Joseph's heard me say this before, maybe. But when we were used to go out and do the hot spots all the time before COVID happened, I would say, I don't really want to go. Like, I'd rather be home. Like, I'm not going to lie. When I'm home, I'm like, I love life, right? I mean, that is my comfort spot. That's the place I want to be, with my kids, with my husband, sometimes not with my dog, but not the new dog anyway. You've met her, you know what I mean. It's like when I'm home, I want to be home. But, and Andy says this, he puts stuff on his calendar knowing that he needs to go out. So planning that ahead of time, knowing that you need to go. So when I'm home, I'd rather be home. But here's the thing, if I don't put it on my calendar, I'm never going to go out. I'm just never going to go out. But one thing that I know is when I go, I get better. I grow. If nothing else happens, I know that I get better. And it's something Anthony and I were talking about yesterday. When we're serving and when we're trying to help and trying to serve somebody else, we get better. Whether it works out the way we plan or not, doesn't matter. But performing for somebody, like Tim Goad says, everybody needs somebody to perform for, everybody needs somebody to perform with. When we're performing, we get better. Whether we make mistakes or not, it doesn't matter. If we keep that in mind, we get better. So when I go, I get better. I know that. So I have to plan that ahead of time. Mike had to plan that ahead of time. We had to get together ahead of time and say, okay, where are we going to go? Where are you going to be? Stuff like that. This past week, Mike was traveling. Next week, I'm going to be down at the Medicare thing in Orlando. By the way, if you have not registered, there's and I think Jake and Ray are going too. There's a Medicare training. Gina Hawks and Ivy Wilson and Kim Clark and everybody are putting that together. There's one in Orlando on September 2nd, and Dallas, I think, is on the 30th or the 31st, but it might be closed out. I don't know. Somebody told me it was closed, so you can't maybe not get into that one. I don't know, but there's one in Orlando, and then there's one on the 15th of September in Burlington, North Carolina. And here's one thing too that Mike and I were talking about. I was talking to somebody else about this yesterday. Let's not take these meetings for granted. Like, let's not take being able to get out there and serve people and go to these events for granted. We all know what 2020 was all about, and nobody wanting to go out and meet with people and stuff like that. And I know we still working through stuff, but here's what I do know. People need people, and people need people to build that relationship. It's when we're out there meeting with people. And I get people that all the time that say, well, I'm great at building relationships and I can do that over the phone. And I agree. There's just something about that connection when you're with other people. So let's not take these events for granted. They're out there for a reason. Let's try and make them happen. By the way, one other event, I'll just put a plug in there for that, is the Fall Summit that's coming up. I believe it's September 30th. Nodding heads. Okay, yeah. September 30th at the Burlington, North Carolina at the campus. I'm going to that one. So please make sure that you go. And we have a couple guests on our call. Maybe they can talk about the event, their first event, and what they got out of it. Because I think, Brandy, your first one might have been family reunion, correct? So I'll have you chat about that. But so we go to these meetings to learn. We go and travel to serve. We go to travel to grow. We go to travel to build depth. We go to travel to build relationships. There's so many reasons to do it. And yes, I know it's more convenient for me to stay home. It's more convenient for me to stay home. It's less expensive for me to stay home. But it means so much more when we go. It means so much more for us and for the other people that are around there. So that's why we do it. And just, Mike's right. I mean, Andy going, he was always going and he's still always going. I mean, his schedule's always crazy with getting out there and going. And I think it's because he knows when he goes, other people grow, but when he goes, he grows. Does that make sense? So, and just like Andy always says, we're all just a monkey in a cage. We're all just looking for the other monkeys with us so that we can be together. You know what I'm saying? We're all trying to get out together. We're all trying to be together. So for the story about the monkey in the cage, if you don't know, if you put a monkey in the cage, they bang their heads. They try to get out. If they're all alone, they're trying to everything they can to get out. If you put another monkey in the cage with them, they calm down and they have somebody else in there with them. So that's the analogy anyway. You can go look it up online. But anyway, all right. So let's get to our guests today. Let's start with, let's start with Joseph and Venus. I know you guys have traveled a lot. You got a lot going on with your organization, and let's go ahead and share a little bit about the stuff that's going on for you guys right now.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you again for asking us on the call. This is fun. This is kind of one of those fun things when you get one of those texts at 5 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I was just thinking. Like, awesome.
Well, yeah.
But I know that we had been talking about it and planning, to chat. I know that in watching what you and Mike have been doing and basically following, because you guys are following what Andy's doing, which is, Andy's just going out there and serving like crazy. It was when he became a partner with Integrity, he started, I saw him traveling more, and he's doing more. And so one of the things that here over the last couple months, I've come to realize that our target is going partner. We are going partner, and we aren't going to go partner by us sitting at home. Because I agree. Like, I'm looking out my window right now, and I'm looking at this 55-acre park out the back. I'm like, I love being home. I love, watching the deer and doing the cool stuff and looking at the mountains. But I know that our dreams are not sitting on the porch. Our dreams are out there. So how we're going to get our dreams done is by going out and serving other people. And so, here over the last couple months, I know we went down to Albuquerque and then down to Phoenix to work with those teams. And then here 2 weeks ago, when Robbie, basically when the corporate jet came out to Denver, I shot over there, and it was so much fun being able to connect with Brandy and then with her team over there that is just absolutely blowing up. And we've just had, it's been cool because Gina Hawks, Brandy actually asked Gina if she'd come out and do a Medicare training out in Colorado. And that spawned into Gina coming to Colorado because Brandy asked. And then she went to New Mexico to work with the Gonzalez organization, and came here to Salt Lake and worked with the team here, and then was in Phoenix yesterday. So because we're asking for help, we're getting it. And because we're going out and working with people, we're getting it. And it's been super fun to watch. And then watching people, watching Jake and Bray go out and serve, watching them, duplicate what you and Mike are doing, and duplicating what we're trying to do is go out and Jake's going out and working with Anthony and traveling down to Atlanta to work with Jordan, and just so much fun seeing the team. What does Andy say? He says there's only two things you can do. You can provide an opportunity, you can provide an example. And so just trying to follow your guys' example and really Andy's example of serving, especially when it's not convenient, because it's never freaking convenient. It's always, there's always stuff that comes up. There's always other things that we have to sometimes say no to things that we want to do to really get what we really, really desire. So that's a huge part of what we're seeing right now, and just excited about the growth that the team's having.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said about asking, you ask and you get. I mean, if you don't ASK, you don't GET. So I love the fact that Brandy just asked, hey, can you come out and do one of those Medicare things up in our neck of the woods? And then it ended up that Gina ended up going all through the West there. And I love it because, Gina was out there serving in our depths in like 4 different cities last week. I was fired up about, or this past week, I was fired up about that. But I love the fact that Brandy asked, and Brandy, you can open up your mic and kind of give us a little bit about your background and how you got started with us. But how was it that you came to ask Gina? So give us a little bit about how you got started with us and what your background was. And then how did it come to pass that you asked her to come out there?
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, thank you for asking me to come on. Such an honor, and I'm grateful to be here. So a little bit about my background. I am actually an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. So I actually work with people moving through their limitations and getting them congruent with their ask. Secondly, I've also been in the financial industry since about 2017. I actually was over with another IMO for a few years. And I guess it was 1st of July, Venus and I were in Mexico together at a training. And I was talking to her about, hey, I'm asking what else is possible for my financial business. And for my husband and I, we're looking at moving our company. We were looking at, we were like this close to jumping ship and going over to another IMO. And literally, I had already sent them my national producer's number and everything. I just hadn't signed anything. And Venus and I had this conversation. I was like, so tell me about what you and Joseph are doing, because I know it's similar, but I don't really know. And we got to talking, and pretty much at the same time, she and I both said, I think you need to talk to Joseph. And I'm like, I think I need to talk to Joseph. And so within 6 hours, I was on a Zoom call with Joseph. And within an hour of being into that call, maybe an hour, I was like, nope, this is where we're supposed to be. So my husband and I came on board beginning of July. And then family reunion must have been, I don't know, like it felt like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was sometime in July.
It was pretty quick. And I had decided I wasn't going to go to family reunion because I already knew what that stuff was all about.
I don't need all that.
I don't need all that. I know what I'm going after. I don't need all that. And thank goodness for Joseph and Venus and being in question with us and being a space for us to actually choose for us and be in question about it. Because at the last minute, we were like, yep, this we're doing this. So we did go to family reunion, and it was the best choice we could have ever made, because it's kind of like, being an entrepreneur and being self-employed, you feel sometimes like you're this little drop of ocean water, like just a little drop out there by yourself, doing everything on your own. When you go to these events, it's like all the little drops come together and it creates the tidal wave, that those huge tidal waves that the ocean can create, and you become part of the ocean, and you're like, oh, wow. And there's this momentum that you can tap into for creation. And so what happened, honestly, for us is that we were asking for something greater. We were congruent with our ask. And when you ask and you're congruent, this is a universal principle. The Bible tells us this: ask and receive. Many of us are asking, but many of us are also not willing to receive. So the minute that you get congruent with your ask and you're willing to receive what you're asking for, it'll start showing up as if by magic. And then you still have to choose it. So family reunion showed up, and I still had to say yes. I still had to choose it. I still had to get that plane ticket. I still had to get myself there, right? And that's when we're willing to choose, and get congruent with their ask, anything is possible. And what I've seen with this model and what we have here, everything we've been asking for, more freedom, more money, more opportunities to contribute to greater and create greater for ourselves and our family, it's all here. We have it. And it's not hard. You just have to show up and do the work, you know? And I was talking to Jeff Bright yesterday, and it was like, you know, our biggest challenge is between our ears. You know, it's like if we have this point of view that it's hard, or that nobody wants to talk to us, or everybody's going to reject us, well, guess what we get? Our point of view creates our reality. So we have to change that point of view and get out of our own way, get out of that head, and talking ourselves out of success and creation and talking ourselves into it. So that's kind of where we're at.
I love that. I love it. And you're absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
It's all up in the head. How did it come to pass that you invited Gina to come out there? Did you meet her at Family Reunion? In fact, did you meet Jeff Bright at Family Reunion? And what was your big, like, how important is it for people to get to these events?
Well,
as a new person, brand new, just coming
as a
in.
new person. Yeah. So first of all, I did not meet Jeff Bright at Family Reunion, but I heard him speak. And then I heard him speak on the Friday call a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, hey, I wonder what it would take to have him actually work with me. So I sent him an email. I'm like, hey, I'm new. You're probably not working with new people, but what would it take for you to actually work with me? And then he called me. And so now we're kind of hanging out and working together.
Oh, wait. That comes back to the asking thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, that actually works. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And then with the Medicare thing at Family Reunion, you know, when Ivy and Gina were on stage and they were talking about Medicare possibilities, I don't know anything about Medicare. This is a whole brand new thing for me. And I'm like, yeah, but I want a piece of that. And Gina was walking by, and I was like, hey, Gina, what would it take for you to come to Denver and do a Medicare training? Like, I know we have people in the area, so I knew that it would be worth her time to do that. And she was like, yeah, just ask. And I'm like, I'm asking. And there she was. And so it's been really cool.
So important to get to these meetings so that you can meet the people. And whether it's on you mentioned the activity call from last week or the TWC with Jeff Bright.
Yeah.
It's so important to be on those two. You just never know what you're going to get from that. And the fact that you got on there, you came, you met people, your business is exploding. If you have that up right now, that thing I sent you, if you can pull it up, it's just Brandy's group so far. Now I know it's blurry and it's small. That's okay. I just want you all to see what Brandy's got going on right now within her organization. And these are all people that you've talked to or Joseph's talked to at some point that are getting started in some way with us. And that's all since Family Reunion, correct? Joseph, you can speak to this too. You can open up.
Yeah, it's been No, go ahead, Bonnie.
I was just going to say that's correct. These are all people that I spoke to. Also, my husband, Eric, I cannot leave him out because this is, you know, we're in this together. And between the two of us, and especially him, he's so fired up and excited about the alliance and the opportunity here. He is on fire. And so I'm grateful that he's, you know, when you're working together, that's the gift of going to these events, right? Like even if you're out there by yourself, when you go to these events, you tap into something bigger than you, and you get to meet people who are out there doing it. And then all of a sudden you're not alone anymore, and you build these relationships. And then you have people like Joseph and Venus or Jake and Beret that you can call and be like, hey, man, I am really struggling this week. You know, what else is possible? And you don't feel so alone, because it's like, if you're out there feeling like you're alone, it's way harder. And it doesn't have to be hard, guys. So it's the gift of going to these events is tapping into something bigger and greater than yourself.
Absolutely. And how about going out there and working with these people, Joseph? Because I know that you've been working with some of these people in depth. And I know Mike's probably got some questions too here and stuff like that. But talk about going out there and meeting the people and helping.
So it's been really fun. You know, it's I remember Andy, I was in a meeting. I can't remember how many, it was I know he said it multiple times, but there was a meeting I was at in Vegas a number of years ago where someone asked him, "Hey, Andy, what kind of people do you want to work with?" And without even blinking, he says, "The easy ones." I'm like, uh-huh. He says, the ones that are easy to work with. Like you ask them, "Hey, would you do this?" And they do it. And then they come back and they ask you, "What do I need to do next?" And that's just, it's been fun working with Brandy and Eric, because like that entire list of people in WIT for Brandy, it's every couple days I get a call that says, "Hey, I got somebody on the phone. Do you have a second to chat with them?" And then finding, hot spots within her team that are duplicating what she's doing. And we've been able to drop down. I think right now we're 3 in depth in a couple different legs and working on driving those at least 6 deep here in the next week or so. And I know Mike got to meet, Paula out there under Jenny Lynn out there in Tennessee. And just right now, I've been able to meet the team in Denver, but I'm looking forward to going back out there. I know Stephen Davies is coming out to Denver the middle of next month, so we'll come out there for that. And then I know we have all these new little fires that are starting up all over the country. And so I look forward to going out there and just stepping in and pouring gas on them and stepping back and seeing what happens. So there's a lot of excitement. When I was talking to Chris Hill the other day, and he told me, he says, it's easier to drive depth with a new person than it is to drive depth with someone that you've had for a while. And I'm like, why is that? He says, because they're excited. He says, it's just, if you can do that quick, if you can talk to them about it right from the beginning and every time you talk. And so I'm getting that. I'm slow and I'm cute. I'm just not very bright. So it's like, now I'm realizing that the faster I can help new people, get that vision of me being able to really help them. I can't go out and write business for them. That's their job. I can facilitate them. I can help them through it. I can teach them product. I can do all that stuff. I can help them in at home. But my main job is to help them grow their business. And I can help them do that fast, if that's what they want. And if
I can speak to that too, Joseph, like you said, help them get the vision. And guys, that getting to the events, if you want to get the vision, get around Andy Albright, get around Jeff Bright, get around all of the leaders in this company. Just get around the people who are out there doing it and creating it, because they have the vision and they're creating from the vision. When you're new, it's hard. It's really hard to teach someone vision or culture, right? So you have to get them around the culture and infiltrate them with it. You can't teach it. And that's the value and the gift of the event.
Yeah.
So
we always say it's caught, not taught. So it's caught by being around. Thank you for that. Yeah. Mike, did you have anything? We're also driving depth in a couple other organizations, and one of them's on here, which is Jake and Foray and Anthony. So I see you're back on the line with us. So
yeah, I am. And you know what? Here's one of the things, as you start to work with people and as you start to, as we say, create a mess, and you've got a lot of things happening, biggest thing you can do is head on a swivel and be aware of what's going on. Like, I think literally Joseph had talked to me about ladies coming on board named Paula, who turns out lives about an hour from Louisville. I think I was talking to her 2 days before the Clarksville event. And I said, hey, this is short notice, but I'm going to be down there in Clarksville. I'd like to introduce you to some people. Maybe you hook up, join me for lunch ahead of time. And she's like, I can make that happen. And so great. It is just helping everybody take whatever step they can do to get around, because there is so much. And then the other piece is, Joseph was talking about pairing up with Steven. I saw Adam Katz and Terry Edwards going to be in Charlotte. They're pairing up. We've got folks that are pairing up together to travel. So there's a lot of good things where people are pairing up as leaders, and I think that's a powerful thing to do. Or if that's happening, to spread the word. And so, how do you keeping your head on a swivel, looking, thinking, asking, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Where's the next thing I could be leading somebody to help them? Which is why we spent time, Noel spent time highlighting those events that are coming up. So if you're here, capture this. Andy says, hey, be a river, not a dam. Help the information flow through to people, make people aware. I think, is you mentioned Jake and Ray and Anthony, another group that's going out and serving. And I want to get to Jake and Ray, but before I do that, I think Anthony, you're someone that we've gone to visit and see, and we're watching you start to blow up, and you're selling and recruiting and making things happen. Having some records and growth. Talk to us a little bit about, as you're coming on board and you saw kind of what you saw from people coming out to visit you and what you learned from that.
So I think, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's an honor. The biggest thing that I think I got from when Jake came out and visited was, okay, he sees something in me before I've truly seen the results and seen something take off just yet. And, he flew out on Father's Day of this year to come visit myself and Izzy to, help us dial, show us the way. And early on, I was only, running for a couple weeks. And I got a ton of information, a ton of coaching, and, really saw new possibilities that I didn't really think were possible for myself. Because the big thing was I was sitting on Zoom calls looking like, man, how are these guys booking 15, 20 appointments every week when I'm sitting here struggling to get up to maybe 10 or even 5 my first couple weeks. And then Jake came out and, showed me the way. And that was really big because if he didn't come out, it would have taken a lot longer, I think, to get up and going. But it really gave me that confidence, like, hey, if Jake, that's someone who's very successful in this, believes in me, then, it's time to start believing in myself and get going. So that was the biggest thing I took away.
Okay. I didn't know if Mike was going to hop back on in there. You're muted.
Sorry, I got booed over, hung up there for a second. I'm not sure what happened, but so I think it's powerful just the fact that how we go out to serve. Hey, people, you're looking for someone that's going to say, "Man, how I'm grateful that that you're here." And maybe they don't say it, or maybe they show it with their actions and they respond to that. I think that's powerful. The impact you have, and you're looking for, not everybody's going to respond that way, but you're looking for the one that is. It was just said the easy one. And so, Anthony, I appreciate the fact that you're seeing it. You're putting more effort because you've seen how you've been served. You understand that, hey, I've got to earn this, and we watch you doing that. So I think that's huge. And just that perspective, you're looking for someone that's got that. That's part of the heart of what we're looking for, is people that are like grateful because of what they see is being given to them. And we respond by work. We respond by stepping it up and going after it. It's like Andy's opened this door to partnership for us. Hey, the way we respond is working our butts off to get it. That's how we show gratitude. And so it's like, who can be the next one behind Paul Roberts? Who's racing to get there? That's why we're out traveling. We're comfortable, but man, we've not arrived. And we're trying to make sure that we show our gratitude by getting a partner and paving a wider path for people to get there as well. Jake and Ray, look, you've been out traveling this past week. You're hitting multiple cities. Y'all holding down the about last week and the week before, whichever was, and some of the places you've been and things that are going and what you're taking away from out traveling on the roads, you're building your team.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Noel, for having us on. We love being on here. I mean, seeing this group of winners, it's every day. It's just a reminder of who we get to work with and the leaders that we have that we can copy and steal everything from. We've from the very beginning, we've seen Joseph, we've seen Noel, we've seen plenty of other leaders travel out. Fitz has come out to Albuquerque. We've seen plenty of other successful people travel. And this year it really clicked in our minds of seeing what it can do. This last week, I know that we've got a buddy of ours, Jordan, who is in just right on the border of Atlanta, Georgia and Tennessee. So I was out there kind of like in Chattanooga area, spending time with him. We met with his mom and a client of his that we were working with. And from there drove down to Atlanta, spent time with Robbie and Brandon Manley and Hannah and Chris Norris. And I don't want to leave anyone out, but a lot of the staff. Learned a ton. From there, flew over to Denver. And biggest thing I learned there is Delta is not as fast as N24/7. Are you? So we need to pick it up so we can get a jet of our own. Being in Denver with Marcus Richardson, and again, the same group from the headquarters. And then, having them push me a little bit. I remember Stephen Handy asking, "Hey, can you get a group down in El Paso?" And I said, "I think so." And, I flew back. Jerry Gonzalez and I drove down to Albuquerque, got home, said hi to the girls, and I did a couple things, made some phone calls, and then drove down to El Paso with my buddy Drew. And I think that in of itself, it was one person, but man, he came back fired up, wrote his first 2 applications just the other day, has got a team of his own coming on strong here in town, and it's doing a lot. It's been uncomfortable for me, being away from the girls. It has. I think every time I have left the house, I've had a conversation with Ray the night before, freaking out. She's like, "Just calm down. All you have to do is get on a plane." I was like, "Okay."
His biggest thing is like, I don't even know what I'm doing. How am I supposed to? I'm like, dude, calm down. Like, let's go out the door.
We've had great examples. I mean, I've looked at a map and I didn't realize where Albuquerque was from Louisville, Kentucky. And I don't know how many people know this, but during COVID, Noelle had in her schedule to come to Albuquerque to visit the team, and El Paso, and Phoenix, Arizona. And I can't remember if we went to Salt Lake or not. COVID hit, airline shut down. She couldn't fly. She got in a car, her and her daughter, and drove from Louisville, Kentucky to Albuquerque. If you want to look it up on a map, that's a drive. And it's like, man, if Noelle can do that and Mike can do that, we can do a lot too. So it's been a lot of fun. I know I was talking with Brandon. I'm pulling all these things and they're coming to me right now. We were in Dallas. I was talking with Brandon Manley up there in the Dallas Cowboys place, and he was telling me about a conversation he had with Andy. Andy was on the grill making burgers or something, and Brandon was like, "Man, how did you grow this thing all the way across the country?" And Andy just stopped for a quick second, looked at him and said, "I didn't do it sitting on my couch." And that alone, I was like, man, that makes so much sense. And as we've been traveling, it's just been a lot of fun hanging out with Anthony. They talk about have fun, make money, and eat good before they make a difference in there. And I'll tell you what, I had some good New York pizza, New Jersey pizza. I had this sandwich that had mozzarella sticks and chicken fingers and all this other stuff. And it's like, we just got to hang out together. And I know the next time Talking Dreams with Anthony, the next time I'm not going to be in New Jersey. I'm going to be in Boca Raton, Florida, hanging out with him and Izzy, because that's what he's putting out there. That's what he's asking for. And I know the next time I'm going to see him, if it's not New Jersey, it's going to be somewhere there. And that's what we get to do, is we get to hang out together and talk about what we want, talk about what we dream about. And it's just, we're that much closer.
That's cool. Hey, and you know what? You talk about that anxiety of, I don't know what I'm doing. You know what? I think that's cool, because that's the same anxiety we all feel when we start running our first appointments or our first dial session. And I just think that just to remind ourselves, hey, guess what? Just like before your first dial session, before your first appointment, before your first interviews, again, we all, it's performance anxiety. We all feel it. And so if you ever went, remember, that's how we all feel when we're doing something for the first time. I think it's natural, and winners feel it, and it's part of the deal. But then you get out there, you start having fun. It's like, okay, yep, I know what to do. You've been living it, you're talking about it, you're being transparent, you're being real, you're having fun, you're painting a vision and looking for people that kind of latch on with you. So that's cool.
And one other thing on that is it's not always perfect, and it's not always how you picture it or imagine it, and it's okay, because it is perfect, and it's perfect because you're there and you're trying to do what you can do, and that's what makes it perfect. Because if you do sit on your couch, and Andy, I love that, because it's 100% right. You can't do it on your couch, because none of us can. That's kind of the point that I was trying to make before, is I'm too comfortable on my couch. And if I'm comfortable on my couch, I'm not having those feelings, that anxiety. Every time I go, every time I do one of these calls, every time I travel, next week when I go down, I still have those feelings. But it's knowing that by going, you work through those feelings, and it's okay. Every time you make a phone call, Mike said the first time you do it, well, it's for some of us, it's every time we do it, we have those feelings, and that's okay as long as you work through those things, as long as you continue to do them.
Yeah.
As long as you put those dates on your calendar and get those plane flights set. It's not okay, and it's not perfect if we stay in our house. As much as people out there, you hear that, oh, stay home, don't go out. And, with the COVID thing and stuff like that, we can't, we got to focus. What are we trying to accomplish? Like Anthony was talking about his goals yesterday on our call. And it's like, yeah, focus on that, not worrying about all this other stuff. So, but we need those reminders. So you write them down, don't you, Anthony? You write them down. You got your.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I have a whiteboard in front of me with a list of all my goals, and I write them down every day. That was a big thing I took away from when Brian Tracy spoke at Family Reunion, was write down your goals, and they will start to come true. And they are starting to come true. So now it's just focus on those goals and don't let, little things get in your way. I know one thing that I got from Jake here recently was I called him. I was like, hey, I got no-showed on all 8 of my appointments today. Nobody sat with me, and I'm losing my mind. He said, you have goals to move to Florida. You have goals to do this. You have goals to get you and Izzy and Jax a nice big yard for the dog to play around in. You have all these goals. So is really 8 no-shows going to stop you from getting there? And I sat there and said, no, you're right, no. So just focus on the goals and just keep on grinding is what I got from that. So,
and communicate like you did, because you reached out, you called somebody, and Jake was there for you. And the fact that he came and flew out there to you, I think probably helped you with that too, because he's already built those relationships with you. So that's massive. Mike, did you have anything on that?
No, I'm good. I'm thinking, look, we got some examples of winners here, and we're highlighting winners on our team. But I know there's winners that are traveling again throughout the Alliance, leaders that are again stepping up, going places, doing things. Whether they're driving 4, 5, 6 hours to run business and bring somebody with them, or going to a market where they've got somebody and taking time. And sometimes it's running. But what do? Sometimes we're running business. Sometimes we're having a meal. Sometimes we're doing interviews. Sometimes we're, doing a dial session, doing what we do in front of people. So it can be any activity that you're doing together that's productive. It might be talking about dreams and goals. It can be a number of things. But hey, being productive, doing some of the work, having fun with it, and just rolling up our sleeves and not worrying, but just getting in there and having fun, making a bit of a mess.
Making a mess. That's what we do. That's what I do anyway. But you're trying to serve other people. It's like we said, it's not going to always be perfect, and that's okay. It's not meant to be. Jake, I think it was, and talked about how I drove out to Albuquerque when the COVID stuff and the flights got canceled, and I had this trip planned, and I was like, it could have been. And, I thought about it. I'm not going to lie, just saying, hey, I'm not going to go. It was at the beginning of COVID and nobody knew what was going on and all that stuff. And it could have been that I could have just said, I'm not going to go. But Mike actually put the thought in my head. He said, well, why don't you take a road trip? And I was like, well, I could do that. And then he said, well, our daughter, Emily, was home from college. She was on spring break. He was like, why don't you see if Emily wants to go with you? And I was like, okay, so this could be really fun. It could be a mess. It could be whatever. We ended up going, and it was one of the best trips I've ever taken for multiple, I can't even tell you, countless reasons. All the people that were there that were grateful that we were there, the people that we met along the way, the time that I was able to spend with my daughter, the seeing the country in ways that I'd never seen before. So my point is when we go, we grow. We're always going to get something out of it if we're looking for something out of it. If we're looking for something positive out of it, that positive thing will happen. If we're looking for something negative, likely we're going to get the negative thing. So when we go, we grow. Make sure you put it on your calendar. I will be in Orlando next week. I know I will see a lot of you all out there. I will also be at the summit in September on the 30th. I know I'll see a lot of you out there. When we go, we grow. Let's grow this thing, baby. Leventovich out. Talk to you later. Bye.